Hey esteemed, welcome to ACE Academy. I'm Harini and today we'll be looking at the history of banking in India before and after independence. The basis of Indian banking system is classified into three distinct phases. The pre-independent phase, that is the period before independence, before 1947. Second phase from 1947 to 1991, and third phase is the period beyond 1991. So in this video we'll be looking at the pre-independent phase and second phase. So we'll see third phase in next video, and along with that I'll give you some important points to be remembered. The pre-independent phase. This phase is characterized by presence of large number of banks. So before 1947, India had more than 600 banks. Banking system commenced in India with the foundation of Bank of Hindustan in Calcutta in 1770, which ceased to operate in 1832. So banking system in India has started after the commencement of Bank of Hindustan in 1770, and the bank came to an end in 1832. After that, many banks came but were not successful. So some of the non-successful banks are General Bank of India, which operated between 1786 to 1791, and Oudh Commercial Bank, which operated between 1881 to 1958, and Oudh Commercial Bank was the first commercial bank of India. Whereas there were some successful banks that even operates now. So those banks are Allahabad Bank, which was established in 1865, Punjab National Bank, which was established in 1894, and the headquarters of Punjab National Bank at that time was located in Lahore. Now the headquarters of Punjab National Bank is located in New Delhi. And Bank of India, which was established in 1906. Bank of Baroda, which was established in 1908. Central Bank of India, which was established in 1911. So these are some of the successful banks in the pre-independence period that even operates today in the third phase. So three banks, Bank of Bengal, Bank of Bombay, and Bank of Madras. Bank of Bengal established in 1806, Bank of Bombay established in 1840, and Bank of Madras established in 1843 got merged into a single entity in 1921, which was known as the Imperial Bank of India. So these three banks, Bank of Bengal, Bank of Bombay, and Bank of Madras, was merged into a single entity, and it was known as the Imperial Bank of India. And in 1955, Imperial Bank of India was renamed as State Bank of India. In April 1935, Reserve Bank of India was formed on the basis of recommendation of Hilton Young Commission. This commission was set up in 1926. So Hilton Young Commission said that India needs an apex body, India needs a central bank. So based on this recommendation, Reserve Bank of India was formed in 1935. In this period, most of the banks were still small and suffered from high rate of failures. As a result, people did not have much confidence in this bank and they were not ready to invest in them. As a result, the deposit mobilization was very slow and people continued to rely on the unorganized sectors like money lenders and indigenous bankers. So with this, the second phase started, that is after independence, 1947 to 1991. Broadly, the main characteristics of the second phase was nationalization of bank. With the view of economic planning, nationalization emerged as an effective measure. So as India became an independent country, it started framing economic plans. As a result, it wanted banks to be nationalized, and the need for nationalization of banks in India was The banks mostly catered to the needs of large industries, big business houses. As most of the banks at this time were only profit oriented, they were least bothered about the priority sectors like agriculture, small scale industries, and export. They were only concentrating on the large industries and big business houses, as their motto was profit oriented. And the poor masses continued to be exploited by the moneylenders. Seeing this, the government of India wanted to nationalize the banks. Following this, in the year 1949, 1st of January, Reserve Bank of India was nationalized. So on 1st of January 1946, Reserve Bank of India was nationalized, and 14 other commercial banks were nationalized on 19th of July 1969 under Indira Gandhi's governance. So the 14 banks which were nationalized on 19th of July 1969 are Central Bank of India, Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, United Commercial Bank, Canara Bank, Dena Bank, United Bank, Syndicate Bank, Allahabad Bank, Indian Bank, Union Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra, Indian Overseas Bank. And in April 1980, 6 more banks were commercialized. So the 6 banks are Andhra Bank, Corporation Bank, New Bank of India, Oriental Bank of Commerce, Punjab and Sindh Bank, and Vijaya Bank. So these are the other 6 banks that were nationalized on April 1980s. So then, meanwhile, on the recommendation of Narasimhan Committee, regional rural banks were formed on October 2, 1975. The objective behind the formation of regional rural banks was to serve the large unserved population of rural areas and promoting financial inclusion in rural areas, as these were the prioritized sector. With a view to meet the specific requirements from different sectors, that is like agriculture, housing, foreign trade, industry, some apex level banking institutions were also set up like NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. It was formed by the Act of Parliament and it was established in 1982. Exim Bank, which is also known as the Export-Import Bank, and it was formed under the Export-Import Bank of India Act and it was established in 1982. NHB, National Housing Bank, it was formed by the Act of Parliament and it was established in 1988. SIDBI Bank, Small Industries Development Bank of India, and it was established in 1990. So the impact of nationalization. What was the impact of nationalization? Improved efficiency in banking system, since public's confidence got boosted. So after nationalization, people started gaining hope on banks and they started investing their fund in banks. As a result, it improved the efficiency in banking system. Sectors such as agriculture, small and medium industries started getting funds, which led to economic growth. So the main motive of nationalization was to support agriculture, small and medium industries. So they started getting their funds, and which led to economic growth. Increased penetration of banking branches in rural areas. So as a result of Narasimhan committees, as a recommendation of Narasimhan's committee, regional rural banks were set up. As a result, these banks started setting up more number of branches in rural areas. So there was a overall development in India. We are done with the pre-independent phase and second phase. We'll see third phase in next video, as I did not wanted this video to be lengthy. If you like our video, please give this video a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to our channel, and also share this video with your friends. So I'll meet you in my next video. Till then, bye. It's me, Harini, signing off.